Lekki Toll Gate just happens to be a totem, a particularly easily relatable point of contact with the multiple levels of criminalities of the Nigerian state, the wanton evil, and the wickedness with which it deals with the victims of its existence, so to say. So, if you will, however it is that you connect to the Supreme Being, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, an African, spiritualist, however it is you find your connection to God, or if you are one of those who have found the wisdom of atheism and you don't believe in the Supreme Being, I do, however it is that you bow your spirit in deference to the spirit of those who are brutally taken away by a victimizing system, I urge you to find a moment. Let's all bow and remember them. May their spirits find rest with their makers. But may the people who took their lives, and each and every person responsible for taking their lives, concealing the fact of their death, denying the fact of their existence and their martyrdom, may those ones never find peace unless they find repentance. May they never find peace. And may the sword never depart from their generations unless they come to repentance. Those responsible for their murders would prefer that we be silent. They would prefer that we find acceptance for what has happened and simply move on. But it is when we, the living, not the existing, the living, it is when we find acceptance for that level of evil, or any evil for that matter, that is when those who have died will truly have died. For as long as some of us remain who do not accept and are not accepting of that evil, what you find happening is that the truth cannot die. As long as those who know the truth are alive to the truth cannot die. I was not part of the organization of SARS. I was more of a participant observer, watching from outside, wondering what it was that the Sorosoke generation were up to. It was clear to any conscious mind that Nigeria was at a critical crossroad, and is still at that crossroad, if not even further towards the edge of the precipice. But as at that time, EndSARS was a narrow, single-issue movement and a protest. And it's important to understand, because I'm deliberately seeking to make these distinctions for us so that we might all understand the issues a whole lot clearer. EndSARS was about ending police brutality. And the major victims were the young people, largely urban-dwelling youth, who were embracing the alternative cultures that they were being exposed to online. So you found more and more Nigerians earning their living online, embracing young men started wearing dreads, more and more persons started dressing more. There was a fusion of Afro-punk, so you had body piercings, more people carrying their laptops around, and of course the Nigerian police being bred specifically for the purpose of victimizing the Nigerian. jumped on it and started extorting. And it became, in this age of the internet, where more and more young people have access to the internet and have their cameras, this became better documented. And a protest emerged around the subject of police brutality. Like I said, I was never part of the organization, but whatever one might have to say today about some persons who were part of this being started, we must thank each and every one of those who were involved, because what they did, wittingly or unwittingly, was that they drew attention to the fact that while the Nigerian youth might be told that he's a global citizen, he's definitely not a citizen in his own country. Now, I remember that at the peak of SARS, while the protest was going on, I gave an interview, it might have been to Sahara TV, I believe, and I used the Yoruba proverb. I said, Oromodie Komawodi, Iyae Lomasha, the fledgling, the chick, has no way of recognizing the hawk, but its mother is familiar with all the raptors in the skies. When I was observing the protest, it became clear that there was going to have to be a point of collision or concession. Simple reason being that to end SARS, multiple things had to happen. You cannot end SARS without ending the system that enables SARS. SARS exists for a purpose, and SARS is merely an euphemism for the Nigerian state. The impunity of SARS is emblematic of the impunity that governs the Nigerian state. How do you end police impunity without ending the system that has assured that the police can only function upgrading impunity? Let's break that down. If a policeman, whose job it is to enforce the law, feels himself completely liberated from observance of the law that he is sworn to uphold, to the point where he not only tells you that I will kill you and nothing will happen, but you have the DPO of Marokwas at that time on record, on video, shooting unharmed, innocent protesters with his handgun, wearing white Uban Shokoto. And nothing has happened to him till date. It wouldn't surprise me if he had been promoted. That is the country in which you were protesting to see the end of police brutality. So as this was going on, it was apparent that at some point something was going to have to give. And then you began to see end bad governance, end impunity, end this and end that. So it was proven. SARS was merely a protest at the fruit, when it is the tree producing the fruit that we should be focused on. But SARS has its many benefits. And that is where these lessons have to be understood. SARS was a protest. So that is suggestive of the fact that you are protesting to a higher authority from whom you expect to get some relief. Protest. But who are the people protesting? I think the first thing you need to understand is What are you protesting? That is the beginning of the understanding of who are the people protesting. You're protesting police brutality. Let's get that clear. Police brutality. Summary executions, imprisonments, extortion, police brigandage. The people who are meant to uphold the laws are the ones summarily executing those who are supposed to be citizens. That should tell you that you have a dystopian state. The victims of Nigeria were protesting that those who are meant to protect them are the ones killing them. So they decided to protest to those who are supposed to be in government. Government in this case, suggestive of the fact that in the democracy that we pretend to be in, that's another one of them. You elected those in government, so your protest should matter, because when you are unhappy, you can vote to kick them out. So you protested. I knew that those protesting are not citizens. And I said this, I'm 55 years old. I was president of a student union. Ask anyone who was with me in LASU. I never led a protest to the street. My reason is simple. I have always been aware of the fact that a Nigerian is not a citizen. Leading him into the street, leading him to confront the system without getting it into his head that he is not a citizen, whether he's Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Fulani, Jaw, whatever you are, unless you are a member of the protected class, and even those idiots are not citizens. That's why they carry British passport, Guyanese passport, and even that one in Azoro, that one was carrying a Guinean diplomatic passport. They are not citizens of Nigeria. Get that clear. Nigeria is the only country in the world without citizens. You, me, we're all victims of Nigeria to varying degrees. When you come to the knowledge of your victimhood, you become a little freer than those who are still living under the delusion that they are citizens. I have always been aware that I am not a citizen of Nigeria. Nigeria does not see me as a citizen. I am a victim of Nigeria. And understanding the fact of my victimhood has empowered me to the point where I engage the system without the blinkers of the delusion still being worn by the bulk of you who still believe at some level that you are citizens. You are not citizens. Let that sink into your consciousness. If you want to be citizens in Nigeria, you would have won the right to be citizens, because Nigeria is not permitting of citizenship. Those in your government are not citizens. How can you be citizens in a place that is not ruled by law? It is a place ruled by impunity, which is why you have the kind of police you have. The police is bred to be exactly the way it is, deliberately underpaid, badly accommodated, horribly resourced, and then given guns and the power to do as they please in relation to the victims of Nigeria. The only time you ever see the police get punished for the excesses is when they get caught in situations where it cannot be denied, or the person that has been injured is somebody who has family members or is an important person. So you find that ordinarily the Nigerian police, not just the police now, let's focus on the police for now. They can do as they please. Why won't they do as they please? They were there when Oga was ordering the murder of somebody or the other. Why won't they do as they please? Some believe that they could reform the police. You cannot reform. Why are you looking at the rotten digits of a leprous man and not focusing on the fact that the person in question is leprous? It is the system that has battered the Nigerian police that has assured that it is the way that it is. So, I wouldn't have called for it. I wouldn't have supported NSAS. Let's be clear about that. If I ever call for a protest, put that in quote, it will be me saying that it is time that we took either to our homes, to the street, or however we care, but it will be to end this system. It will not be to end SARS or end judicial rascality or end this. It is to end this system because our problems are systemic. You can't, if you're dealing with the police, the custom, the ports, what is it about us, even us, we as human beings, Nigerians, the average Nigerian on the street, are we even any different from those victimizing us? We've been conditioned to become cannibalistic in the extreme. You can hardly trust one with anything. So it's not just about government, it's about ending the way, the mindset, our way of thinking. So when the time comes, if we are talking protest, believe me, I'm not talking protest. I'm talking a complete turnaround. It's going to be a revolution of nothing else. But you do not call for a revolution without a plan for the day after. It is about what comes the day after. That is what has crippled the likes of us, because we believe that in the absence of unity, you can't really plan for the day after. You must have substantial unity, at least amongst the conscious layer. But that's for another day. Now, question is this. What have we learned? SARS did something. Because of the age in which we live and the effectiveness of the communication system, we could see very clearly the lies of these governments and this system. SARS unmasked this government. So for those who are still busy wearing blinkers, let me break it down for you. First, it began with a system ferrying thugs around in state-owned vehicles. In Lagos State, we saw Lagos. In Abuja, we saw Prado Jeeps. Ferrying thugs around. When that failed to work, we saw the sorry picture of jailbreaks, quote and unquote, where you couldn't find a single warder in sight and you could see persons who were supposedly breaking jail, carrying luggages and strolling free. Some were interviewed and they said, oh, the warders opened the door for them, asked them to leave. And these were the people who were supposed to have been set free by SARS protesters. So you could see very clearly, if you cared to see, the base criminality of the state and institutions of the state in daylight. This was before the 20th. That was something that any conscious person should see. But if you failed to see it, by the 20th of October, we could also see what could be gained if we all worked in concert. What did we see? Multiple persons shout out to DJ Switch, Sarah Ibrahim, Dabira Ayuku. I'm sorry if I do not remember your name now. I wasn't part of you. I only came to meet all of you afterwards. They documented what happened. And in the midst of all of these, you could still find Nigerians continuing to, on behalf of the government, deny what we all saw. A live feed was labeled doctored. And human beings, supposedly with brain, were parroting these lies and are still parroting it till today. So we're dealing with a system that has been unveiled in public. That's the first thing that we must tell ourselves about SARS. SARS showed us Nigeria in its ugly nudity. And then, having exposed the mask, victims refused to run. Again, salute to the courage of those who are on the scene. Salute to the courage of those persons. Sarah Ibrahim, DJ Switch, Ayuku. Sarah Ibrahim and Ayuku particularly for their leadership of the victims. The SARS panel, unexpectedly for a lot of people, confirmed what we were saying for years, and not for months, that there was a massacre. All members of the panel, all, amongst the members, a retired DIG, believed two appointees from the Ministry of Justice who have today been elevated and become judges in Lagos State. unanimously agreed that there was a massacre. Dele will look and tell all the lies he cares to tell. The Lagos state government can concoct all the lies that it cares. Today, those who care to continue to tell these lies only invite damnation onto their own head and their children's head. Men, women, young men and women were freely, willfully murdered. One of the lessons we learned is that their lives matter, and it matters. And the same system that killed them, the instrumentality of that system, acknowledged their humanity. That is an unprecedented victory. To get the Judicial Panel of Inquiry to unanimously find as it found, that was unprecedented. And it tells us that if we work using the system, whilst it still continues to pretend that we are in a democracy, we will continue to unmask this system for the evil that it is, but not because of some protest, but because of the need to change it. Let me be unequivocal in getting it clear to you. This is a system that is beyond redemption. It has to be changed. It is the focus on uniting us so that we can have a plan for the day after. That is what we need to be dealing with. Focus on the day after. But that this system needs to end. Let it get into your head. It needs to end.